Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. What I'm going to do for you now is just give you the full Ukraine, Donald Trump, Zelensky drama right from the point that Zelensky's butt hit the pavement outside the White House right up until today. And it's a wild ride. Let's start here. Marco Rubio, Caitlin Collins talking a little bit about what happened between the two.
Tonight is the Secretary of State who is in that room today, Marco Rubio. Thank you so much, Secretary Rubio, for being here. We just heard from President Zelensky. He said he does not think that he owes President Trump an apology for what happened inside the Oval Office today. Do you feel otherwise?
I do, because you guys don't see, you guys only saw the end. You saw what happened today. You don't see all the things that led up to this. So let me explain. The president's been very clear. He campaigned on this. He thinks this war should have never started. He believes, and I agree, that had he been president, it never would have happened. Now here we are. He's trying to bring an end to this conflict. We've explained very clearly what our plan is here, which is we want to get the Russians to a negotiating table. We want to explore whether peace is possible. They understand this. They also understand that this agreement that was supposed to be signed today was supposed to be an agreement that binds America economically to Ukraine, which to me, as I've explained, and I think the president alluded to today, is a security guarantee in its own way, because we're involved. It's now us. It's our interests. That was all explained. That was all understood. And nonetheless, for the last 10 days, in every engagement we've had with the Ukrainians, there's been complications in getting that point across, including the public statements that President Zelensky has made. But they insisted on coming to D.C. This agreement could have been signed 5 days ago, but they insisted on coming to Washington. And there was should have been a very clear understanding. Don't come here and create a such scenario where you're going to start lecturing us about how diplomacy isn't going to work. President Zelensky took it in that direction, and it ended in a predictable outcome as a result. It's unfortunate. That wasn't supposed to be this way, but that's the path he chose. And I think, frankly, sends his country backwards in regards to achieving peace, which is what President Trump wants at the end of the day, is for this war to end. He's been as consistent as anyone can be about what his objective is here.
But what specifically do you want to see President Zelensky apologize for?
Well, apologize for turning this thing into the fiasco for him that it became. There was no need for him to go in there and become antagonistic. Look, this thing went off the rails. You were there, I believe. It went off the rails when he said, let me ask you a question to the vice president. What kind of diplomacy are you talking about? Well, this is a serious thing. I mean, thousands of people have been killed, thousands. And he talks about all these horrible things that have happened to prisoners of war and children, all true, all bad. This is what we're dealing with here. It needs to come to an end. We are trying to bring it to an end. The way you bring it to an end is you get Russia to the table to talk. And he understands that. Attacking Putin, no matter how anyone may feel about him personally, forcing the president into a position where you're trying to goad him into attacking Putin, calling him names, maximalist demands about Russia having to pay for the reconstruction, all the sorts of things that you talk about in a negotiation. Well, when you start talking about that aggressively, and the president's a deal maker, he's made deals his entire life, you're not going to get people to the table. And so you start to perceive that maybe Zelensky doesn't want a peace deal. He says he does, but maybe he doesn't. And that active, open undermining of efforts to bring about peace is deeply frustrating for everyone who's been involved in communications with them leading up to today. And I think he should apologize for wasting our time for a meeting that was going to end the way it did.
100%. There you go. I've never been a fan of Marco Rubio, but I do like the way he concisely has been breaking things down recently. When it came to USAID, when it comes to this situation, very quickly breaks it down. And he's probably pretty upset because he was the one that kind of not completely organized the deal, but he is like the liaison. So Trump he says a bunch of things. I want this. Give me all their minerals. Marco, be quiet. You have big ears for listening. I want the minerals. That's it. That's what I want. Can you go get it, please? And he goes, yes, sir, Mr. President. And then he goes and talks to them. So to see it all fall apart is probably pretty frustrating for him. Now, I'm noticing that there's a little overlap here. This is probably the exact same interview. I'm not going to bore you guys with handsome Caitlin Collins, although she is a handsome lady. Let's move on. Zelensky sitting down for the Fox News interview. I didn't listen to this whole thing. I don't really want to, but I'm going to listen to a good portion of it for you guys. Let's go.
Mr. President, thank you for the time today, especially on this day, to continue to do this interview. President Trump said after your meeting that you disrespected him and the vice president and all of America in the Oval Office. Do you think you did, and do you think you owe an apology to President Trump?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for the invitation for this dialogue, and good evening to all your country, to all Americans. I'm very thankful to Americans for all your support. You did a lot. I'm thankful to President Trump and to Congress bipartisan support. And I was always very thankful from all our people. You helped us a lot from the very beginning during 3 years of full-scale invasion. You helped us to survive. Anyway, we are strategic partners. And even in such tough dialogue, and I think we have to be very honest and we have to be very direct to understand each other, because it's very, for us, very necessary to President Trump, and I'm with all respect that he wants to finish this war, but nobody wants to finish more than we, because we in Ukraine, we are in this war, we are in this battle, a battle for freedom for our lives. So I'm just telling that I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin. And I heard from President Trump a lot of times that he will stop the war, and I hope he will, and we need to pressure him with Europe, with all the partners. And I think this dialogue had to be a little bit earlier to understand where we are. Like, you know, I don't remember exactly, but like President Reagan said, that peace is not just an absent the war. Yes, we're speaking about just and lasting peace, about freedom, about justice, about human rights. And that's why I said that I think so, that ceasefire, and you know Putin, he broken 25 times ceasefire during all these years, 10 years.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things that where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians. And I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. You know, we are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
I'm told.
What? The question was, do you think you should apologize to the president? This guy's like, oh, American people, you know, Reagan once said, what? Hey, answer the question, bro. You gonna apologize or not? This guy's like, we're partners. We're very, no. That's not how that goes. Okay. All right. You're getting money from somebody. That doesn't make you partners. Okay. That makes you a welfare case. It's cool. Happens to everybody eventually. You gotta lean on somebody. That doesn't make you partners. Hey man. Hey bro. You owe me $1,000, man. You owe me $2,000, bro. What's going on here? Oh man, come on. You know us. We're partners, right? So I was buying stuff, candy and groceries and stuff like that, a little bit of weed. And, you know, that's just part of our partnership. We got to keep things open. You'd be like, I'm about to slap my friend. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't need the money. Maybe I'll do it and so I'll still get the money. I don't know. You know?
That you were told multiple times from lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the White House to make today about the minerals deal and the economic deal, and then get it signed and let negotiations play out over security guarantees step by step. Is that true?
I said that we have to sign this document, and we are ready for this. And this will be the first step to security guarantees. But it's not enough. I think so. Maybe I don't know something. I don't know some details. That's why I wanted to share it with the president, my thoughts, and to hear him again, because he has a plan how to stop Putin. And maybe, as I said, maybe it's out of big conversations, but we have to share it. You know, this is so sensitive. you know, just a ceasefire without security guarantees. This is so sensitive for our people. I'm speaking like a president of a people who are in this struggle 3 years, and they just want to hear that America on our side and that America will stay with us, not with Russians, with us. That's it. But I'm sure that it will be. This is the first step to security guarantees. Europeans, we don't need to lose them. They are good allies for the United States. The United States is the most or the biggest donator of support and of peace. But we don't need to lose Europe, and they also want to know next steps. We have to be very open to understand how to stop the war.
Right. But do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean, this this is not good for both sides anyway, and I very open, but I can't, you know, change our Ukrainian attitude to Russian, and I don't want they kill us for us. You know, this is very, very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
President Trump is convinced that you will never sign a deal with Vladimir Putin. Is he right?
No, I think so. What I think, Ukraine wants peace, and we will have anyway diplomacy. We will have negotiations. I only said that I think so. It's about just and lasting peace. It means that we have to be very strong at the table of negotiations, and at these negotiations, Ukraine and Russia, like sides of this war, have to be, and the United States and Europe. That's what I said. So we are.
You know what his problem is? He talks too much. That's what this is. He just talks too much. Listen, it's alleged, you know. A lot of people, I remember I was doing a live when Zelensky was on camera, when the whole thing happened, and somebody said they counted like 17 nose wipes. That's all I'm saying. He talks a little too much, you know? And he's kind of like he says some wild stuff, he does some wild stuff, he gets thrown out of a place, and then all of a sudden, a few hours later, he's like, I didn't even say anything that bad. No. I said, you know, it's sensitive, right? I said that I want to be good friends. I said, you guys are the best partners ever. And then, you know, he got mad. It's like, no, bro. He won't even acknowledge what he did. He won't acknowledge what he said. You know, people picked up on camera while he was in that whole wild spat with JD Vance and Trump that he actually swore. He said like the equivalent of the F word in his language to Trump. Buddy, you're going to get kicked out of the whole country. You're going to get kicked out of the whole country, okay? Stop playing games. But he talks too much. This is just supposed to be a quick, I'm sorry. Where is Ukraine's deep state? Is America the only place with a deep state? They need a deep state. That's what they need. I'm no advocate for the deep state, but this guy would benefit from someone in the background controlling. I'm just saying. I mean, I know he has the WEF, you know, EU controlling him a little bit, being a wedge in between Russia and America and, you know, ongoing wars. I know he has some controllers, but he needs like a Comey around him or something, you know, just somebody in the background. That's what happens though when you take over, you know, a country like this. You don't hold elections or anything. There's no government to be had. This guy needs to get reeled in. Do they have a CIA? They need a CIA. That's what they see. Forget about America's. You know, that needs to be taken care of. This guy, Ukraine needs a CIA to reel this guy in or something. Is he at the helm just on his own? This guy's no Trump. You can't be on the helm on your own, bro. Look at this guy. Look at his face. Look at that. It didn't take much timing to get that face out of him. That's his face, okay? All right? I'm just saying. I'll do another minute of this, and then we got to move on.
We are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees. Am I not right?
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight, fight, fight. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
What do you make of that? Do you want to continue fighting? Do you want peace? And if he had the opportunity to go back to the White House right now, would you do it?
No. First of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brad. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace.
He's out of his mind. The guy asked him, would you go right back tomorrow so you could have peace? This guy's like, no, I just want to say I'm for my soldiers. And what are you doing, man? What are you doing? This is terrible. Terrible what he's doing to his own people. What do we got here? Oh, Lindsey Graham. You know, after this whole stunt, Lindsey Graham was like, there ain't going to be no more money. And if there ain't going to be no more money, I don't know why I ever shook hands with that Ukrainian Zelensky. I mean, this is ridiculous. There could have been another $250 billion. He messed up my money, okay? I want nothing to do with him. That's the gist of what he's saying here. To the hand-wringing Europeans who felt offended by President Trump rejecting being lectured by Zelensky, be my guest to defend Ukraine from Putin. True. Never agreed with Lindsey before. It is a long past time for Europeans to show they are capable of defending their own continent. Ooh, whoa. Let's go, Graham. Money motivates this man. They've allowed their militaries to be hollowed out, and when Europe speaks, no bad guy listens. Oh, God. What? This guy's throwing shots right now. I say this with great sadness. The last group of people that I would count on to defend freedom are the Europeans. You know what? Said like a red-blooded American. He goes, let me tell you something about Europeans, okay? They got nice pants, they got nice shoes, but I ain't never seen them win no nice wars on their own, okay? Okay, America has to come with the money and the might, okay? I mean, I don't know what would have happened to y'all. I would have had to write this message in Germany, if it wasn't for America, for God's sakes. I would have had to translate this into German, for God's sakes. And y'all wouldn't even be able to get it on the internet. You'd be censored. I'll tell you something. And plus, Europeans, they ain't got much money. I mean, those euros just don't hit the same as that American tender. I love it. I hope Lindsey Graham sees my impression of him one day. I don't like that guy at all. Can we go to war on him? Where does he live? Can we bomb him? This is also what Lindsey Graham had to say about the whole thing.
All right. So, what I think? Complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelensky this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelensky do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
What would he need to do, sir? Three questions. Senator Graham.
You just had lunch with President Trump. What did he say to you about his interactions and whether he thinks
He was shocked. He was very upbeat. I told Zelensky, we'll talk about security guarantees. We'll talk about ceasefires and how the war ends. This is a process. You have a new relationship with America, a $500 billion, $500 billion deal that President Trump is proud of, that gives us an interest worth defending. Let's talk about the positive. But he was terrible at Munich, Zelensky, and I think he has made it almost impossible to sell to the American people that he's a good investment, that he is a good business partner.
Last question. Senator Graham. Hey, one at a time. One at a time. Christian Daytime. Senator Graham, thank you. Do you think President Zelensky needs to resign to resume these peace talks?
He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
Thank you. Thank you.
He needs to resign. I mean, they need to send over somebody who understands appreciates a good dollar. You understand? I've been to Ukraine 9 or 8 times. Why have you been to Ukraine so many times, sir? Sir, you were never Secretary of State. Am I wrong? Why are you over there so much? Oh my gosh. Best money we ever spent. You guys remember when Lindsey Graham said that? Best money we ever spent. We're giving you money and the Russians are dying. I'm paraphrasing, but he did say that. I got to jump over to Tucker Carlson real quick because Tucker Carlson had a word for Lindsey Graham. I'll tell you what. Tucker Carlson never lets up on Lindsey Graham. Like when Lindsey Graham talks about J.D. Vance, how much he likes him, Tucker Carlson will call him out right away and be like, no, you actually said this about J.D. Vance, and you said you didn't like him. So Tucker Carlson actually had this to say. One of the most striking things about yesterday's Zelensky press conference was Lindsey Graham's reaction to it. The two are old friends, but Graham disavowed him within an hour. This was more than just a transactional disloyalty. It was scapegoating. Lindsey Graham knows what's coming. Over the past 3 years, with tenacious support of its Western patrons, the Ukrainian government has committed a remarkable number of serious crimes. Whoa. Okay, I didn't read this all the way through. Let's go. Tucker Carlson coming out the gate. The Ukrainians sold huge quantities of American weapons on the international black market at 20 cents on the dollar. Whoa. Leave it to Tucker Carlson, huh? Listen, you can tell by my reaction. I did not read this through. We're on YouTube here, Tucker. These weapons are now in the hands of armed groups around the world, including Hamas, the cartels, and forces now controlling Syria. God knows what the Ukrainians have done with the pathogens in them. Whoa, Tucker Carlson coming out the gate. So Tucker's basically saying that Lindsey knows what's going on the darker side of things, which is why he disavowed him so quickly. I don't know. You wouldn't have to, like, even if you were still standing beside him while all this was happening, whether you disavowed him or not, you would still be guilty, you know? Just to push against what Tucker's saying here, even the U.S. intels aren't sure. The Ukrainians have unalived a number of people in various countries in political assassinations and have tried to unalive others, including American journalists, European head of state. This is all true, and it's going to come out at some point. Better start blaming it on Zelensky now. Well, I guess so, but I mean, Lindsey Graham, I mean, you just saw his reaction to it. That's basically it. I don't see him really blaming anything on Zelensky yet. Yeah, that's yet to be seen, but I don't know about that. I don't know. Now, in the Fox interview, there was a clip of, and that was just Tucker just going off there like Tucker does. Now, there was a clip that they played in the Fox interview. This is the rest of it. Let's hear what Trump has to say.
Thank you very much. So I just want to say we're going down to Florida. We have a big event tomorrow night, a big MAGA event, Make America Great Again. And it's setting records, and otherwise I'd rather be right now at the White House. But we're doing the big event tomorrow night. We had some big news this week, as you know, because Apple is investing $500 billion. Think of that. And that's going to be a lot. It's going to be a tremendous investment. I guess the biggest investment anybody's ever made in the country at one time. But they're going to be investing a lot of money, $500 billion. We have many other companies have just announced they're coming in. A lot of it's because of how we're doing. We've done a great turnaround in a little more than 30 days, but the country's really doing well, really doing well. We're respected again all over the world. If you look, we had the Japanese Prime Minister. We had the Prime Minister yesterday of UK, as you know. We had the Prime Minister of India. We have another 20 Prime Ministers and Presidents wanting to come. And it's very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that, not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records, and I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are impressed with that. The other thing is the feeling about our country. The feeling is great. It's up 48% on feeling on business. And that's the record we've never had. There's never been a record where we've ever gone up that much in such a short period of time. So
now, everything that it's very interesting to see Trump talk about the whole what he's trying to do here in terms of making a deal. It's you can definitely learn from it as you're listening to what he's saying. And he's right. He will be emboldened, because you could hear from that Fox interview that I played that he said, he's like, we're just looking to know that America is by our side. So it's like, hey, are you looking for peace? He won't say that he should apologize. He won't say that he'd come back and sign the deal. He's trying to just have things his way. I want money. Whatever deal I have to sign, I just want money. I want to keep going. I want all of this to keep going. You know? So if Trump's right, if he signed the deal, he probably just would have been like, now that we're tied to each other economically, I'll talk about this in a second, but now that we're tied to each other economically, you know, I want to do this. Come on, you have to come with me. You have to come with me while we do this. You know? And the next thing you know, America gets thrown into a war because eventually what's going to happen? They're not going to have enough troops. They're going to need American boots on the ground. And then that's a whole other ball game. That's a World War III ball game. So nobody wants that. I was going to say, with friends tied to each other economically, like you ever had that where you're just too tied to a friend, too many things going on where your lives it gets sticky. It gets too sticky. You don't want that. You want a very concise agreement, when it comes to any deal that you're doing. You don't want it too entangled. You want to know that they're going to do XYZ, you're going to do ABC, and leave it at that. Now, what you're about to see is MSNBC pull the old spinneroonie on this whole thing as they analyze it's like they live in a different world. And I don't know who's listening, who listens to this and goes, yes. I don't know who does, but someone does. And, bless their heart.
You're not acting grateful enough. You're not being thankful. Donald Trump, to the leader of Ukraine. Joining our ongoing coverage, former United States Ambassador to the United Nations, former National Security Advisor to President Obama, Ambassador Susan Rice is here. Ambassador, your reaction?
Well, Nicole, obviously it's a very sad day and an embarrassment for the United States on the world stage. But let's step back and analyze what's happened here. I think there's no question that this was a setup. You heard Donald Trump say at the end of that clip you played, this is great television. This was a setup. Volodymyr Zelensky was compelled to agree to a horrible deal that would have sent Ukraine's minerals to the United States without any concrete security guarantees. And yet, because he was trying to improve a relationship with Donald Trump, he came to Washington, he came to the Oval Office, and sat down for a meeting, hat in hand. And soon after he got there, the Vice President of the United States lit into him and started a confrontation. Now, I've been
J.D. Vance started the confrontation. That's the timeline that they live in. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's a fun timeline. So they set up Zelensky. That's what they did. They actually said, okay, when we get in here, we're just going to do what we do. We're going to talk back and forth, okay? And then we're going to force him to ask you a question. And when he does, you're going to pounce, JD, okay? That's what they did. Okay. That makes perfect sense. That's just perfect. And also, when they say it's a terrible deal, how's it a terrible deal? Let me tell you something. Canada has no concrete guarantees from America about anything. Even right now when the relations are tense. Let somebody do something to Canada. And America's just going to call up and say, how many? And Canada's going to be like, oh, someone just dropped how many what? How many nukes? How many nukes, and where do we send them, Canada? Listen, we got white phosphorus. You know what that is, Canada? Canada's gonna be like, no, I don't know what white phosphorus is. Oh, well, it sucks the oxygen out of your skin. It's really interesting. Tell us where to put it. Right away. You don't need a concrete insurance. Once America's with you, they're with you. I think around the world that's been proven. USAID. USAID's like, here's 100 million for frogs. Do some tests on frogs. We got you. Cambodia, what do you need? You want a transgender opera? Go ahead. We'll build a whole stadium for you. America. I think it's been proven. Okay. When America is with you, they are with you. You're good. You are good once they're with you, especially if you're making them money, especially if now they've signed something. You owe them money, okay? You owe America money. You owe Donald Trump money. And then on top of that, you say, okay, you can just have these minerals here. And then somebody blows up the minerals? Trump's going to be like, who did it? Who did it? Was it you, China? Was it? No? Russia, was it you? Oh, it was. Okay. Meet me outside. I don't care if there's an ocean between us. We're coming to your front door. That's the way it goes in America. So to say that this is a terrible deal, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Man, do you know about this thing? It's this massive, massive plane, okay? It's a massive plane. And I think we have like 58 of them. And they're big enough to hold nukes. It's crazy what these planes can do. And again, the white phosphorus. Go look it up, okay? Don't click images once you look it up. Do not do that, okay? I'm telling you right now. Go look it up. America's ready. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is a terror. There's no assurances. Just sign the deal. And plus, it's Trump. It's not even like it's a different president. It's not like it's Biden or Obama. Trump is like, you sign a deal and we make a deal. That's it. We got you. Done. Deal signed. We're in. So, I don't know, man. I'm not listening to much more. You want to hear more MSNBC? Huh? I imagine that's a big no. Anyway, let's move on here. We have Caitlin Collins actually giving her take on what she saw. Handsome as ever.
And Caitlin, it's hard to imagine a scenario in which this could have gone worse. This seems to be a dream come true for Vladimir Putin.
Well, it's not an overstatement for sure to say that it is one of the most astonishing moments that we have ever seen happen inside the Oval Office, between these world leaders essentially shouting at one another by the end of this, devolving into, at points, Trump and Vance berating Zelensky for saying that he was not being grateful enough for the aid that the United States has provided to Ukraine, and Zelensky arguing back that they do not understand Putin, essentially, that he will violate any agreement if the proper guarantees aren't in place. That seemed to particularly incense Trump, as he was saying, don't tell us what we're going to feel. Zelensky has been arguing that Putin will not stop with Ukraine, that he will go on to other Eastern European nations, including Poland, as he made the argument there. And Trump was essentially pushing back on that and telling Zelensky that he had no cards and that he needed to make a deal. And at one point, I think the most striking line from that could foreshadow what the rest of these talks are going to look like, what this press conference could look like if we still see these world leaders come out where they were supposed to sign that deal, is the president said to Zelensky, you either make a deal or we are out. Now, that comes after 40 minutes before this exchange happened, where the president was talking about how he wasn't ready to make security guarantees yet. He said the United States would still send some weaponry to Ukraine. Questions going back and forth about how a deal would hold, how a minerals deal would be carried out. All of that was essentially wiped away by those last 10 minutes that were so incredibly heated there in the Oval Office, and essentially ended with Vance saying that this is not something that should be litigated in front of the press, the many press who were inside that room. Trump saying that he thought it was actually good that it was playing out. And I asked Trump as we were leaving, can the two of you still negotiate given what we just watched that left everyone else in the room silent? He told me, quote, we'll see. But just to give you a sense of how much things broke down, look at this picture of the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. She has been the ambassador to the U.S., I should note, since 2021, since before Russia invaded Ukraine. She had her head in her hands at one point when I looked around the room and was just looking at all of the officials here. Secretary of State Rubio, Treasury Secretary Bessent, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the Commerce Secretary, they were all in the room, and the Ukrainian officials as well, watching this play out and raising real questions about what the two leaders here are going to be able to get done behind the scenes.
Look at her. She's like, oh my God, we came here broke. We have no money. What's he doing? What's he doing? I knew he was wiping his nose too much. I saw him wiping his nose. I said, Vladimir, why are you wiping your nose so much? He told me not to worry about it. I knew it. Oh no. We got no money. Who's gonna pay our pensions? People always get mad when I say that, man. I say that. I get into comment sections. I'm like, we're paying, America's paying the pensions of citizens in the Ukraine. That's a real thing that's actually going on. And then after that absolute debacle, Zelensky heads over. He can't go home. He can't go. Maybe he does have a deep state. And the deep state's like, don't come home until you bring back $250 billion. Bring back quarter trillion, okay? Hollywood actor man, okay? Act like the president and bring back money, you understand? So he heads over to London to go get some money.
Can anything be salvaged, President Zelensky?
President Zelensky, can you get Trump back on side?
Can this be salvaged, President Zelensky?
Can you get Trump back on side?
What's your message to the US President?
Is it too late for your relationship with President Trump?
President Zelensky, can you get Trump back on side?
What is your message to Donald Trump?
Is it too late, President Zelensky?
President Zelensky, how do you repair your relationship with President Trump, please?
Still negotiate with President Trump, Mr. Zelensky.
Can you be without the US, President Zelensky?
What's your message to Donald Trump, President Zelensky?
Why do you wipe your nose so much, President Zelensky? President Zelensky, do you have any money on you now? Or does the Prime Minister have to pay for that Uber that you just took here? President Zelensky. Let's move on here. I'm just kidding, you know. I'm just ripping them, you know. But then they actually did sit down and they did finalize a deal for 2.6 billion euros. You went to America and you messed up hundreds of billions of dollars. You went to London and you got 2.6 billion alone at that. Zelensky's gonna be like, I don't know what you are talking about. It was a grant. This was a grant. I don't understand. And I didn't receive 2.6 billion. I got maybe $400. I don't know where the rest is. I need more money. Can I have more money, please? That's what's gonna happen there. But let's just check this out. Quick signing.
Well, thank you very much. And that's our side of it. And in the next few days, the disbursements of money, we should be able to make those to Ukraine. I know that they are needed as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Minister, for being able to join us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's not even enough to get him a suit. Oh man, that money's gonna dry up quick. You know that, right? Apparently, it's a defense loan for Ukraine. So the UK is getting involved in all this, and I believe this is where Zelensky's just leaving. This is just a quick clip. Prime Minister, yeah, this is just him leaving the whole place. Now, that money's not gonna do well. That's gonna dry up very quickly. They need somebody who can actually be by them and help them achieve peace. And it's interesting because did the UK have any conversation like that of peace, reaching a peace agreement? It seems like, and it's funny because Trump is a dictator and he seems to be the only one that wants peace. You know, it's funny how that works. The UK, where they just have freedom of speech galore from your jail cell after you tweet something. That's where you get your most freedom of speech there. Turns out they're not looking for much peace. Now, this is him actually talking a little bit as that's all happening. Now, check this out.
American money, good. Give us 250 billions, which are here in Europe, frozen Russian assets. No answer.
This guy's delusional on what kind of money this guy wants. Give us 250 billions of frozen Russian assets. What? No. What? Why would anyone do that for you? If Russia has money here, can I have it? Ukrainian, very similar to Russian, the language, very similar. Vladimir, same thing. If you can give me half his monies. No, man, that can't happen. So it turns out that he never wanted peace. Trump is 100% right. You know, you can say what you want about Trump, but he is a good read of people, and he does know how to make a deal. I mean, this is what he's been doing for his whole life, reading people, understanding what they're about, and then incentivizing them properly, which is why he understands incentives so well. That's why he wants to do a mineral deal with Ukraine, because then he understands it will incentivize Russia to back off. And then they have a better hand of cards to now talk about peace with Russia. Because then they step into the whole thing of, we're doing this with Ukraine. We would really appreciate it. We want to give you X, Y, Z in assurities. We need you to not go after Ukraine anymore. This needs to stop. And then they talk about land and territory. Boom, you got peace. But Zelensky never wanted that the whole time. This is what he wanted.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight, because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing. The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters.
That's what he was looking for the whole time. That's what he wants. He wants boots on the ground. That's what he's looking for. And it's crazy that he said that. And thank God he didn't say that to President Trump when he was in front of him. In this room, wherever he's at, looks like he's in Ukraine, go ahead and say it. You know? Go ahead and say it. But if he said that in front of J.D. Vance and Trump, would have been a whole other thing going on. And then as things are going on, as this is progressing, and this is in a very short period of time, following meeting between President Trump and Zelensky, Slovakia's, am I saying that? I feel like I'm saying that wrong, okay? Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico has declared that his country will refrain from providing financial aid or military assistance to Ukraine. Just right there, bang, somebody's off. Somebody's already off, not helping Ukraine. And then this weird thing happened. Vladimir Putin hinting at offering the U.S. a deal on rare earth minerals, saying Russia has way more than Ukraine. Could you imagine? And that's the type of thing that happens. You have a deal with somebody, you back out the way you did on Trump, then all of a sudden Putin's like, hey, we got minerals, you know, and I can bring about peace. I'm a bigger player in this whole thing. You signed a deal with me. That gives me a little assurities of what's going on, and I understand, you know. Whew. Let's hear. It's probably going to be in Russian.
Мы, кстати говоря, готовы были бы предложить и американским нашим партнерам, когда партнеры.
Let me just hear here. By the way, we would be open to cooperation with our American partners. When I say partners, I mean not only administrative, but governmental agencies and also private companies. If they show interest in working together, Russia possesses significantly, I want to stress, significantly larger resources of this kind than Ukraine. Russia is one of the uncontested leaders when it comes to rare and earth minerals, metal reserves. We have deposits in the north, that country, in the Caucasus, that country, as well as far east in Irkutsk, your region. another country. I'm sorry, guys. Developing areas substantially capital investment. We would be happy to cooperate with any foreign partners, including American companies, by the way. The same is true for the new territories. We are open to foreign partnerships, so-called new. Our historical territories have become part of the Russian Federation and also hold certain reserves. So he's ready to do business, basically. He's ready to do business. So imagine that happens. And also, it's showing that just Russia in general is a little more open to thinking about things other than war, which, you know, not going to say Putin's the greatest guy in the world, but his mindset seems to be better than Zelensky's. Although a lot of people like to think that he is the greatest leader in the world. You know, Lex Friedman called him a Braveheart character. This is someone from the Ukrainian government suggesting that they have to have conversations with China. Check this out.
Foreign affairs. We appreciate it. We are very much interested to have the strong relations with China, and we think it's time to arrange the meetings between our leaders. I think it's momentum. It's momentum because China can play important role in the peace process.
Will we see more meetings with you guys?
Foreign affairs.
It's crazy. I don't even understand what that would be about, because I don't know if China's going to give them money. They might. That's the play that China's been doing in Africa quite a bit. So they might do that and just decide, hey, listen, you're in a debt that you'll never be able to repay, and, you know, we kind of own you now without having to invade you. That is something that China does quite a bit. Now, again, can they actually bring peace? Maybe. They are very cozy with Russia right now. Maybe, you know, they go to China, but what they're really looking for is money. I don't think that they're looking for peace. And I think if they did go to China, China would figure that out very quickly. Here's just a big flip-flop of the press. Welcome to Ukraine, the most corrupt nation in Europe. And then after the Ukraine crisis, the fight for Ukrainian is a fight for liberal ideals. Routers, Ukraine's neo-Nazi problem. Afterwards, for foreign fighters, Ukraine offers purpose, camaraderie, and a cause. Vox, well, that's not really a comparison. They're not really flip-flopping there. But, you know, there's a whole flip-flop in terms of the press. Yeah, I just don't know why they would show this at the end. Vox and CNN. Is CNN linked to Vox? New Europe and the Washington Post. But basically, there's been a flip-flop of the press in regards to Ukraine. Let's go here. America will not put up with this. This is Donald Trump's most recent take. This is as of today, March 3rd, about what he is willing to put up with, what America is willing to put up with. Let's go.
President Trump hitting back at Ukrainian President Zelensky just a short time ago on President Zelensky's comments in London yesterday during a briefing where he said, quote, "An agreement to end the war is still very, very far away, and no one has started all these steps yet." President Trump responded to Zelensky by saying, quote, "This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelensky, and America will not put up with it for much longer." It is what I was saying. This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing, and Europe, in the meeting they had with Zelensky, stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of show of strength against Russia. What are they thinking? But Democrats aren't outraged by President Zelensky. They're mad at President Trump.
If Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Putin believe that they're going to intimidate and bully and threaten President Zelensky to join the club of corrupt and unprincipled leaders, they will literally need to wait until hell freezes over twice, because this is a man who is committed to the survival of his country.
The propaganda is what's coming out of J.D. Vance's mouth, and it's Russian propaganda.
I saw the meeting as a despicable display of bullying by the president.
It was Vice President Vance, particularly, who was on the offense, who was berating President Zelensky.
It is absolutely shameful what is happening right now. The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
I just have never felt such shame about American policy before, and I don't know how our allies trust us after this.
Putin and his cronies are probably popping champagne bottles right now.
We have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States.
Move. They all need to move. All of them need to move. All of them need to just, you need to move. You need to pick a place. Canada's very similar, although they don't have a Florida. Caribbean for Crockett over here. You need to go. You guys need to go. You can't, I don't know, what, how are there people who are so anti-American? You know, I'm covering this stuff all the time, and it's still mind-boggling when I hear it, because it is like a different world. What world are they in? That guy said, what did he say about the Kremlin? What did he say? What did that crazy person say? I gotta replay it. I got to. Look at him. Trump, the orange man bad. What did he say? Let me hear him.
The Kremlin.
I just have never felt such.
House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
An arm of the Kremlin. Who are these people, man? How are you allowed to be so un-American? Does every country have it like this, where there's just people who are just so against their country? I don't think so. I don't know, man. It's wild. Absolutely wild. That's their spin on it.
One. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is standing up for President Trump and calling out Democrats for having a double standard when it comes to peace talks. Watch.
Shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd. We are trying to end a war. You cannot end a war unless both sides come to the table, starting with the Russians. If there are no negotiations, what is the alternative? Another 4 years of war, another 3 years of war, in which the United States and Europe continues to pour billions of dollars into a war in Ukraine? Is that the alternative?
Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily, completely accurate.
Wild. Absolutely wild. That again, it's like they're in another universe. You know, I'm gonna end it off with these two clips right here because this is a solid last word. Actually, you know what? It's gonna be two of the last ones, but actually, let's jump over here. Let's jump over here first. Let's jump over here. This is basically, this came out, just today as well, March 3rd. Zelensky ready to sign minerals deals after the whole ordeal at the White House. So he's now he's ready. So I'll just play a little part of this so we can get the gist of it.
And let's start right here where we left things on Friday. Ukrainian President Zelensky now says, hey, I'm ready to sign that minerals deal with the United States. This despite his heated confrontation, I'm sure you saw it, with President Trump and Vice President Vance in the Oval Office on Friday afternoon.
Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with the latest for us. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Yeah, despite that spat with President Trump in the Oval Office on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he remains confident that he thinks his relationship with the United States and with President Trump can be repaired. And like you said, Steve, he is still confident and optimistic that they can reach a minerals deal with the United States. He still wants security guarantees, though, but Trump administration officials say security guarantees are contingent on a peace deal, and they don't even know if peace is possible at this point. That's why they say they're trying to get Russian President Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table.
President Zelensky has thrown off the sequencing. And Margaret, let me tell you the most tragic part of this. The President Trump's idea for this economic arrangement was to further intertwine the American people and the Ukrainian people and show no daylight.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says a minerals deal is currently off the table. To get it back on track, some Republicans and U.S. officials say a major reset is necessary, and they argue that task falls on Zelensky.
Something has to change. Either he needs to come to his senses and come back to the table in gratitude, or someone else needs to lead the country to do that. I mean, it's up to the Ukrainians to figure that out.
European leaders are grappling with a fallout after holding a summit with other European leaders in London over the weekend. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the outlines of a plan to end the war. The Associated Press reports the proposal would keep aid flowing to Ukraine and continue to arm them from any future Russian invasion. Starmer.
Right there, Zelensky's just like, I just need the $400 billion. 400 billions, please. Please. You give two, yes? Please, we need this before I go home. Before I go home, can you give me in briefcase, in truck? I don't, Bitcoin, I don't care. I just need the monies, please.
Reportedly says the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air, but the plan would still need U.S. support.
Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong U.S. backing.
Why would the U.S. be... The whole world heard Trump say multiple times that he wants peace. And then this guy in the UK is just like, well, we'll put boots on the ground and we'll do more war, but we need U.S. backing. And Trump's like, No. Do you guys understand? No more of this. This is done. We're coming to a peace deal. So crazy to even have that mindset. And then on top of that, for the UK prime minister to say that, and for Zelensky to say he's ready to sit down and sign a deal, it only shows that Trump is 100% right in saying that if he signs this deal, Zelensky will continue to feel emboldened and he'll want to continue the war. Trump is 100% right. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Here, I'm not going to play too much of that. Let's go here. Oh, yeah, this was the biggest development. Listen.
Our Lucas Tomlinson reporting the United States is pausing all U.S. military aid to Ukraine until President Trump determines the Ukrainians show a commitment of good faith peace negotiations. That's according to a senior Trump administration telling Fox. This is not a permanent termination of aid. It is a pause. The orders are going out right now. The official said this in response to Ukrainian President Zelensky's conduct over the last week and his words over the weekend. So it's all stopping, Brian.
Yeah, well, he needs an apology. President Trump says, I need a direct apology. This can be fixed with a phone call. Sorry if things went off the rails. Liked the first 45 minutes of our talk. Didn't like the last 10. So let's get this thing back on track. I understand what you mean, and let's do it. And then you put the ball in Russia's court, and let's see how sincere they are. But it's going to take a call from Zelensky to Trump directly, and I'm sure he'd take the call. The guy does not hold grudges.
There you go. So now military aid has been paused. Obviously, you got UK Prime Minister talking about like, well, we're ready to go to war. I just need some US backing. That's all. And France is like, yes. Also, we would like to go to war. America's like, no, we don't do that anymore, guys. We got to stop going to war, especially for Zelensky. This is crazy. Right now, right in this picture, they're explaining. They're like, the thing about it is, mate, every time there's a war, America kind of pays for everything. I mean, Trump has called us out on it quite a bit. I mean, we do pay quite a lot less when America's involved. We let them kind of, pay most of the money and all that, right? It's just... So we don't really have money, sorry, we didn't realize. And that's why after meeting with them, Zelensky wants to go back to the table. These guys, these three, because that's all I can see right now, these three want to keep this war going. And I have no clue why. Maybe it's just to disrupt Russia. And also, you know what you got to notice at the end of the day, and I'm going to finish it off with these two last words because they're great. You know what you notice? You notice continually the things that happen, even if it's a war between Ukraine and Russia, still somehow America's pulled into it and destabilized a little bit. America having to go to war, more tax dollars, more everything. It still causes a little bit of destabilization. Most things that you see happening in the world are either trying to rope America in, but in some way they will destabilize America a little bit. I think there's something to that. But let's end it off. Michael Schellenberger, okay? We're going to have him, and then we're going to move on to this gentleman right here. Both of them have some solid words to say. Let's go.
There's something I need to say, and I need to be blunt. So let me start by saying I love Europe. Truly love Europe. I love visiting Europe. I love Europeans. I have European friends. I respect the relationship we've had for a really long time. You Europeans do not respect Americans. You can protest and say, no, we love America. No, you don't. We know you look down on us. You think you're better than us. And in some ways you are. You work 35 hours a week. You have longer vacations. You've got this magnificent culture. We get it. But any relationship in which one side doesn't respect the other can't last. This thing where Ukraine comes to the White House and acts like it can tell us what we should do, that's not what the relationship is. This thing where somehow we're on the hook, including for countries that are not in NATO, that was never the deal. Ukraine is not part of NATO. We were never obligated to protect Ukraine. Maybe that was something that Europe wants to do. Great. Europe should go protect Ukraine. We have no NATO agreement with Ukraine. And this thing where then Zelensky then goes and like quotes all these other European leaders. They're with me, not with the United States. Great. Go work together. We have 100,000 Americans being killed by the Chinese and Mexican fentanyl and methamphetamine mafias every year. Our kids are not learning to read. We have thousands of veterans with PTSD and are hurting. We have been at war in the Middle East for a quarter century. It's been 80 years since we bailed out Europe. You have your own militaries. You have your own nuclear weapons. I've been trying to be really indirect about this for years. I've been trying to be soft pedaling that you guys don't get it. Europeans do not get it. You guys think that this relationship is going to last forever. You think that because something's written down on a piece of paper, it's going to last forever. Americans have voted against this multiple times. It doesn't matter. This is not about what you think of Trump or like Trump. People on the left, on the right, they do not want to be in a nuclear war with Russia. How can we explain this to you? We do not want to continue to be in the Ukraine war. We want peace. Our natural inclination is to actually not get involved in conflicts in Europe and Asia. We didn't want to have to continue to intervene after World War II. I get it, but times have changed. We're ready to move on. And we bear a lot of responsibility for this. The United States bears a lot of responsibility for this. Our people, our administrations, our think tanks told Zelensky that, and told the Europeans that, we were loyal to that alliance, that we were going to stick with them. No, that's not, the American people are not on board with that. This is not, again, the left has traditionally been against those kinds of military entanglements. Now the right is, but a lot of the left is too. A lot of Democrats, a lot of liberals. I would love an orderly transition here, but the behavior that we're seeing coming out of European leaders and out of Zelensky just now in the Oval Office suggests that the relationship is over. We'll reset the relationship afterwards. We can have a trade. We're going to visit each other. It's great. But this thing of this entitlement, I don't think Europeans understand how angry it makes us. I don't think Europeans really understand how much Americans want to deal with our problems. We go to Europe. You have universal health care. You work 35 hours a week. You retire at a young age. You don't work nearly as hard as we do in the United States. You have many more benefits, in large part because we pay for all of your security, or a large part of it. And in return, we just get disrespect, entitlement, like we're like your children, and this is a dysfunctional relationship. It needs to end. It needs to change. Okay, maybe there's a transition period, something, but this has gone too far. And I think that the anger that you saw in the White House with Trump and Vance, with Zelensky holding his arms, rolling his eyes, acting like he was telling us what the deal was. No, that's not a Republican, Democrat, whatever thing. That is not how we're going to be treated by people that we're helping. So it's time to grow up. It's just it's time for the relationship to change.
Solid. But there's more.
Trump does not want the losing hand. This is why it is more likely than not this war will end, because Trump and President Putin will agree to end the war. If Europe does all its great warmongering, it doesn't matter. The war is ending. So get it out of your system. Please tell your colleagues. It's over. And it's over because Trump doesn't want to carry a loser. That's it. It's not some great morality. He doesn't want to carry a loser. This is a loser. The one that will be saved by the negotiations taking place right now is Ukraine. Second is Europe. Trump does not want.
Man, yeah, two solid points. Michael Schellenberger right there, and I believe that's Jeffrey Sachs. I'm sorry if I butcher that name. I do apologize, but yeah, that sums it up right there. I know it's been a long episode, and thank you if you've hung out there the whole time. We're at like an hour and 10 minutes, Anyways, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, helps the channel tremendously, and other than that, I'm out.